You've probably seen their stuff in the grocery store, right? Milky Mist. But behind that simple block of paneer is a really fascinating story. A story about how you win in one of the toughest industries out there. Today, we're breaking down the Milky Mist playbook for the dairy business.
I mean, it seems like a pretty simple question. You see it in the fridge, you buy it, you cook it. But behind that unassuming package is a world of incredible, and I mean incredible, complexity.
The dairy industry is just a constant battle. Seriously. Companies are fighting against the clock, against costs that go all over the place, and even against political pressures, all while trying to scrape together a profit. It is a much, much tougher business than you'd think. So today, we're going to use Milky Mist and their plan to go public as a lens to unpack this whole industry. We'll get to see the challenges that everyone in this business faces and the really clever strategy this one company is using to try and come out on top.
Okay, first things first. We have to understand the fundamental problem that sits right at the heart of the dairy business. It's what I call the profit squeeze.
So here's the crucial thing you gotta get. The price a dairy company pays farmers for milk, it's all over the map. It goes up when cow feed gets expensive, it changes with the monsoon, it spikes during festivals. But the price you and I pay for milk at the store, well, that stays stubbornly low, mostly because governments do not want to tick off voters with a price hike. This puts dairy companies in this impossible spot, just crunched from both sides. And this volatility, it comes from three main pressures. First, you've got the cost of fodder, cow food. When that gets pricey, farmers need more for their milk. Then there's the monsoon. Good rains mean happy cows and maybe lower costs, but a bad monsoon is trouble. And finally, think about festivals like Diwali. Demand for milk-based sweets goes through the roof, and prices follow. All the while, the dairy company is stuck in the middle, paying more but not being able to charge more. And on top of all that financial pressure, you've got the simple, brutal reality of the product itself. Milk goes bad, fast. This isn't something you can just stash in a warehouse for a few months. It's a race against the clock from the second it leaves the cow. So how do you even survive in a game like this, let alone win? Well, Milky Mist's whole strategy is built around creating two defensive moats to protect its business from all these pressures. Their first moat is that they have basically mastered the art of moving milk around. They've built this amazing cold chain with chilling centers and refrigerated trucks. And here's a brilliant little trick. Instead of their trucks driving back to the factory empty, they use them to deliver the finished paneer and cheese to distributors on the return trip. It's such a simple idea, but it slashes their transportation costs and gives them a huge edge. Now, this is their second, and honestly, probably their most important moat. Instead of getting into the dogfight of selling low-margin liquid milk in pouches, Milky Mist decided, nope, we're going to focus almost entirely on value-added products. We're talking paneer, cheese, ghee, yogurt, the good stuff. And here's why that is an absolute game changer. For every liter of milk they sell just as liquid, a company might make a profit of, say, 1 rupee. But by turning that exact same liter into cheese, Milky Mist can make 3 rupees. That's a 3x jump in profitability. That right there is the core of their entire business model. So, the big question is, has this playbook actually worked? Well, the numbers tell a really fascinating story of incredible growth, but also of the immense stress that comes along with it. And just look at this revenue growth. It is explosive. They're on track to go from under 1,400 crores in 2023 to a projected 2,350 crores in just 2 years. I mean, that's nearly doubling their revenue. It's pretty clear their bet on high-value products is finding a massive audience. But the profit story, that's got a little twist. You see that dip in 2024? Revenue shot up, but profits actually went down. So what happened? Well, it was a couple of big one-time costs. Their expensive new machines lost value on paper, that's depreciation, and the interest on their loans went up. It was a temporary hit, and you can see they're expecting to bounce back strong. This number right here, this tells you everything you need to know about the high-stress part of their growth. Their paneer-making machines are running at 110% capacity. That means they are pushing their equipment beyond what it was designed for, probably running extra shifts. It's a great sign of demand, for sure.
but it's also a huge warning sign that something's got to give. So, how does a company that's running this hot solve these problems and gear up for even more growth? Well, that's where their plan to go public comes in. They're looking to raise about 2,000 crore rupees, and they have a very clear plan for that cash. First, they're going to pay down the very loans that ate into their profits in 2024. Second, they'll expand production to ease that dangerous 110% pressure on their machines. Third, and this is all about visibility, they're going to buy thousands of those branded fridges you see in corner stores. And finally, the rest will just fund the day-to-day costs of growing this fast. Now this is probably the cleverest part of their entire expansion plan. See, when you make paneer, you get the solid paneer and then this liquid leftover called whey. Most companies just treat it like waste, maybe sell it for cheap animal feed, but Milky Mist sees it as gold. They're installing new equipment to turn this waste into super valuable whey protein powder and lactose. It's a perfect waste-to-wealth strategy, creating a brand new, high-margin product from something they already have. Of course, no business story is complete without looking at the flip side. And for a company with plans this big, you better believe the risks are just as significant. The first major risk is staring us right in the face. This chart is staggering. A full 98% of their most vital raw material, milk, comes from a single state, Tamil Nadu. That is a massive concentration risk. Think about it. A regional flood, a big transport strike, a new local policy. Any of those things could paralyze their entire supply chain overnight. The second risk is a classic growing pain. Originally, they built their reputation by buying milk directly from farmers, which gives them amazing control over quality. But to feed this crazy growth, they've started buying more and more from middlemen. We're talking from just 1% a couple years ago to 15% today. This helps them get milk fast, but it introduces a huge risk. They just have less control over how good that milk really is. And there are two other key risks to watch. Just like their milk supply, almost all of their money-making products come from one single factory. There's no backup plan. And they rely on third-party distributors who aren't exclusive to them. I mean, those distributors could easily start pushing a competitor's product tomorrow, cutting off Milky Mist's path to the stores. So that's the Milky Mist story. A brilliant strategy in a brutal industry, fueling explosive growth but also creating some pretty significant risks. The big question for the company, and for anyone watching it, is whether this playbook is really sustainable. Can they manage these high-stakes challenges and turn all this ambition into a long-term victory? What do you think? Thanks for watching The Explainer.